Now I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, we troubleshoot, but it's all good. So this is the Jesus Coffee and Jiu-Jitsu podcast. I'm your host, Hernando Thola, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Jean-Jacques Machado here in Spokane, Washington. And my guest today is Eric Medina, Jiu-Jitsu brown belt under Jean-Jacques, training partner,
Hmm.
wrestling coach, and just overall good, humble guy, competitor, no-gi world champion. He placed in worlds as well in the gi. I mean, this guy's the real deal. He leads by example, and I'll just kind of take it away. Thank you for being on the show, Eric.
Thanks, man, dude. We miss you and Amanda a lot. Used to see you like every day for years, and definitely used to coach with Amanda all the time. So it's good to see you guys. I told a couple of the kids that I was talking to you. They said hello. So you guys are missed. And even like I'll throw like a picture up and like, oh, like look, there's Johnny. So we miss Johnny too.
Yeah, Amanda saw that picture, and I don't know if she thought it was like, oh, it just so happened, but now I can tell her that you did it for a reason. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I really miss training with you guys. I know that, I'm a lot taller than you, but you're just like so like you got that Darce. They call you the Darce Knight. It's like I gotta be careful. I'm like really far, and you're really strong and you're quick, and you're just a natural competitor. So
Well,
just
I also don't like when you beat me up too, so I gotta try to put it on you before you put it on me.
I don't know, man. Like I don't. It almost feels like you're not trying because you're just so, like a natural. So I have to like put up my wall. Like no, man. So, but it's fun stuff. You have your place right behind it. Everyone can, if you can't see, um, because some people are listening on audio. But he has his own house that has a bunch of mats, and he calls it the LA Jiu-Jitsu House, and that's in Canoga Park, California, in Los Angeles. Tell us about what you got set up back there.
So I used to work in the hotel industry, and still train jujitsu and compete and everything like that. And I got invited to do EBI, and this was in Mexico City, and it was a really big tournament. And I think if I remember correct, like the grand prize was like 20,000, and I was a purple belt at the time, and I kind of like got really serious about my training, and felt like I could get a little bit more if I had my own mats. And then me and my buddy Joey House, Joey, we've been roommates for a couple years, and then we put all our money together, and Mark Munoz had a gym, Rain Training Center, and they relocated. And when they relocated, they kind of had like a sale of like a lot of gym equipment, like dumbbells, the mats that we have here, treadmills, all sorts of stuff. So we ended up picking up some super quality mats. These are zebra mats. The MMA mats are super nice, and we spent pretty much all our money we had, but like it was still like a good deal because mats are. I mean, I'm sure mats are expensive, and so we have like 550 square feet of mat space, and then these mats have been trained on by like Lyoto Machida, Anderson Silva, Mark Munoz, and now us. So we always say like if you get any type of like ringworm, it's like an honor because these are like the real deal.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I've been there a few times. I know that you've done seminars there too.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like
In
it's always like an
2012, I
unofficial
think.
school.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, I missed training there. I know. I think you moved everything to Explosive Fit. I think in the
Yeah.
time being. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been at Explosive Fit now. The owner, Rod, he's a friend of mine, been training with me for about 2 years, and he had his gym, which was, a really nice big spot right up the road. And, things kind of happened naturally where we started having classes over there, and, that's almost been a year now. And, you know, right now with COVID-19 going on and all this other stuff, kind of like had to really put the brakes on that. And, but that doesn't mean like I've been stopping, you know. Like one of the cool things about having like your own home gym is that you're able to continue training. Granted, you know, the real kind of thing about jiu-jitsu is you do need a partner. And, you know, so me and Bonnie have been getting our mat time in, and that's been really cool for us. Like, you know, my fiance, Bonnie, she trains at John Jocks with us too. She's a blue belt. She's ready for her perp. I tell her that all the time. I tell her I'll promote her whenever she wants it, but she's always waiting for JJM to do it. But yeah, that's my main training partner right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys don't know. Yeah, Bonnie, his fiance, she's a blue belt under John Jock too. I kind of relate with you too, because when we moved, obviously I got my black belt under John Jock. Amanda's like, well, we're moving, like you're a black belt, like what do we do now? And then Amanda went, and my wife was talked to John Jock, was like, what do I do? Like I want to train under you. And John Jock was like, you're my daughter, of course, you're under me, like I promote, you know, like you're my daughter, you know, like so it was cool, because like even though I'm her husband, like you soon to be, it's kind of like they want it under him, because
yeah. Hey dude, I mean, you know, I go through my checklist of what I would think a purple belt is, and she's that, you know, but she doesn't want it for me. So like I just shut my mouth, or it's gonna be a fight, or my ego is gonna take a hit, you know.
Yeah, no, it's cool, because like you said, like you kind of have your checklist, and I'm the same way. I think when you start training for so long, you're at that high caliber, and like, you know, John Jock holds us back. I mean, if he's listening, like he holds us back, but we see the value in it, you know, like we're your students. And so, you know, but it's such a high honor to get it under him. Any belt, basically, stripes, any belt, to get it under him. I mean, you see John Jock in the community, and people know who he is. So it's worth the wait, and it's worth the grind. I know that you've been training, you're a brown belt. You've been a brown belt a long time, and you've done so much at the brown belt level that, you know, speaking for myself, man, you're there. But you know, like John Jock, he's got his stuff. So
I think right now I'm at 9 years training jiu-jitsu, and all of that since day one has been at JJM. So
that's
right
awesome.
there.
Yeah, I didn't have the privilege to do that. I've been training with John Jock for 4 years. I came as a brown belt 4-stripe, and as I started to learn you guys, I mean, I knew you before, but really the family, the community within the school, I wish I just started there for the first place. But you know, everything happens for a reason, and but it's really, I miss you guys, and it's great that, you know, whenever you're here, you know, we're gonna make that happen. You know, God willing, that, you know, it doesn't stop. Hey, John Jock Spokane, here you are. You know?
Yeah, dude, we're always happy for you, Hernando. We always see like 1 million students, so it's pretty cool to see you like you know, making it and doing it. And then like I hope your students know that like they got a quality instructor too, because like, you know, like you said, like he holds us back. Like you can bang with anybody, you know, like that's kind of the cool part about it, you know.
No, thanks, man. I mean, it goes the same way with you, man. I really can't wait to get you out there, and so that you can treat these guys like hard, but also show them what's up, that, you know, size doesn't matter. It's all about the technique, how jiu-jitsu is supposed to be, how it is. And I feel like John Jock really teaches us the timing and technique and the leverage. But I appreciate that, man. I always have stuff here written down because I tend to drift. But I want to get into what you also do. Primarily, you teach wrestling for high school and nonprofit through LAPD. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm the head coach for Topanga Wrestling. Topanga Wrestling is based out of Canoga Park, California, and it's kind of sponsored by Beat the Streets. And Beat the Streets LA is a nonprofit, and what they do is they really try to grow the sport of wrestling in high schools and middle schools. And all over the country and even the world, wrestling is very popular. But in California, it lags in certain spots. So it's kind of like trying to grow it. And I'm really lucky enough that they kind of partnered me with Topanga. And Topanga is, you know, Officer Estrada's program. And he was building a program of his own. And at one point it got too big and he needed help. And he kind of partnered with Beat the Streets. And that's where me, Coach Amanda, Benny, Sergio, Coach Chris, Coach Joey, we all came along and kind of put our input on the program. And it's a really cool program, ages 6 through like 18 pretty much. And, you know, serving like all types of kids, you know, from, you know, at-risk youth to like, you know, I've never played a sport in my life, and we have them all together on the mat training every day, or not every day, but 3 days a week, you know, 6 to 8. And it's been really cool, man. We've had a lot of success. We sent some kids to the national tournament. We have 3 state champions. Like the high school team is coming along nicely, and none of this happened overnight. You know, it's been a long grind, just like jiu-jitsu, you know, but we definitely have quite a few, some champions in there, and some up and comers, and a bunch of characters too. You know, it's a comedy show for the most part.
Yeah, they were tough. I remember when we came on, Johnny, my son, he was wrestling. We took him out of jiu-jitsu. It was really rough, aggressive. We lived in Granada. This was probably like 3 years ago probably. Took him to San Fernando. San Fernando was great, but then I knew you, and I know that I was like, what's going on over there? And I heard that it was a cop that was like running it. I was like, I want to go check that out. And it was great because you were there. There wasn't a lot of kids yet, but I remember right before we left in September, it was packed with kids.
Yeah.
Packed.
Yeah, Hernando, like, you know, sometimes like, you know, 60 kids, 60 students, like, you know, on the mat going crazy, like all teenagers, like it gets crazy, you know, and, but man, dude, they're a lot of fun, and when everybody's head is in the game, like it's a great feeling, and you know, they really come alive during competition. So, you know, we miss Johnny. Johnny was a handful too. He was one of those kids. He's definitely a Topanga kid for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really love what you do. I know that John Jock sees it. When I was there, he would talk. He would be like, hey, you know, you help with the kids? I was like, yeah. And but it's your thing. I've seen you and Joey and Officer Estrada. You know, he's a police officer out of the Topanga station. Has really not. I know he's probably listening. What I've noticed, he hasn't really. He could take other positions and promotions, and
yeah.
You know, but he really stayed behind for the kids, and that's a very selfless thing. I think that's a Christ-like thing that you and him do, where like, for example, you can do whatever you want, but you guys are really there for the kids. And I think that's a big deal, especially in that, not in just that area, but just in general with rough homes or this or that, or mental illness, whatever it is, that that program has really changed people. If maybe you don't have to say the names, but maybe you can name a, like not name, but maybe describe a kid that was very difficult and where he was at in a rough spot, not his fault. And then,
yeah, we have you know, so many boys and girls, and like each one is like a different story. You know, we've had young kids, like junior high kids, like, you know, maybe experiment with like drugs, and, you know, it go really bad where they have to go to the hospital, and, you know, now they're kind of taken away from their parents, and or, you know, people that might have like real anger issues for whatever reason, and, you know, they're on the verge of getting kicked out of like public school, you know, like they've crossed the line one too many times. And, you know, when we get them, it's kind of like, well, this is kind of your last chance, you know, you better get with the program. And we have enough kids of all different types that like, okay, like what school do you go to? Oh, I go to this school. Like, all right, that kid goes to that school. Hey, you know, show them the ropes, like teach them what wrestling is. And, you know, and once the kids kind of like understand, like, oh, like this is kind of like hard play. Like, you know, we're just messing around, but like we could go as hard as we want. Like, okay, like I kind of get it. You know, so sometimes they're looking for, this is kind of a weird thing. Like, I don't have kids, you know, but they're looking for like that male role model of like, you know, I don't know what a man is. Well, you know, like, you know, you got to be strong, you got to be soft, you know, this is kind of like the way of a warrior. You know, this is not something that you get in regular school. You know, you don't go over things like courage and bravery, or like nerves, or like what competition is, what it means to win or lose, you know, stuff like that. And we really try to like set them up for success in life as well as the mat. you know? And I think that's that little bleed over that we have with Officer Estrada, who is pretty much trying to make sure that these kids never walk the wrong path, you know, which is, you know, he's there at ground zero. And us with JJM, we're making sure like, oh, like, you know, like your jiu-jitsu is on and off the mat, you know, and it's kind of like trying to sprinkle it in on these young people and making sure that they're making good life decisions, and also like, you know, trying to make them champs in the same time, you know, to boost their self-confidence.
Now, it's amazing what you guys have done. And like you say, on and off the mat. As you're speaking, one thing hit me. Remember, there was a point. Obviously, it's a wrestling program, and obviously, like we love jiu-jitsu, but there was a time where like there was a sponsorship or I think a grant or something. We might be getting in trouble by talking about this, but they all started training jiu-jitsu for like a season. It was awesome. They had gis and everything.
Yeah. If you look at like wrestling, it's grappling, and then jiu-jitsu is grappling, you know, and a lot of the positions are very similar, but where it changes, sometimes that's an opportunity. You know, if you've wrestled your whole life, well, a jiu-jitsu guy might be able to do some stuff that you haven't seen before. And I think that was like one of the cool things that we did that summer, was like getting the kids to see it in a different light. Whereas like, you know, in jiu-jitsu, like there's no penalty to go to your back and play guard and do stuff, but in wrestling, it's over. And we have a couple different kids there that their personality will suit them better for jiu-jitsu, right? They're just not aggressive. They don't have that killer instinct. Okay, well, you could play passive, you could play guard. The game continues, you know? And I feel like that was like a really cool thing where like, you know, if we were starting to feel like, oh, that's a jiu-jitsu kid, like, you know, you just stick, you know, just wait until summer, like you'll have that. But even me now, when I wrestle, like a lot of it is to get to my top positions for jiu-jitsu, you know, and to learn how to like or apply pressure and be heavy and like let my opponent, you know, dictate like what the next position is going to be, as I like just ride them and kill them by pressure.
Yeah, no, it was cool because I know they were only doing jiu-jitsu for maybe like a month or two, and we go to Lewis's school, King's Combat in Chatsworth, right? And I think you got Hollywood department involved, Hollywood Palace, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And some other schools involved, and then the Topanga kids did really good, like really good. It was awesome.
Yeah. You know, so for me, Hernando, like I had wrestled in high school and college, and when college wrestling was over, I got into jiu-jitsu, and I knew on my feet, like I could get 2 points no matter what. And so that just built my confidence. Later on, you know, I had to learn how to play guard and do all sorts of stuff off my back, but for a long time, it was just take down, let them go, and win matches like that. And I think that helped me like settle into like positions and stuff like that of like confidence, you know, like, oh, as long as I'm here, like I'm going to be okay. And I think the kids started to develop that too. Well, like I could take down these people no matter what. Like they have no stand up. But like when it gets to the ground, just don't get choked. Don't go into triangles. Now they're in triangles the whole match, but like, you know, like that's the game. And that was cool too, because the jiu-jitsu kids would slap a submission on them too.
That's awesome. Like I never told you this, but when I would go to train at Lewis's at 5 a.m., I know that you would show up here and there. What's the school with the wrestling school with the ape on it? That's close by. What's his name? Local to you. The other school was got an ape, San Fernando Valley something, or Great Aiders, something like that.
Great Win Aiders. Okay, yeah.
So I talked to him, and I think I was wearing the rash guard in my gi that morning at 5 a.m. And he was like, yeah, those kids, like, they're very well-rounded because of the jiu-jitsu. It's amazing. So just throwing that out there.
Man, hey, thank you. Yeah, hey, but you know, like for what wrestling is going to be over for them for someday, right? Like after college, like, you know, for the most part it ends. They could still train jiu-jitsu forever, you know, and like that's kind of like, you know, what I want to instill. Like if this is it's a healthy lifestyle. It keeps you in shape, keeps your mind calm, kind of makes you a little bit more humbler, because you're always, one person away from a beating, but it's a better life than what maybe they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
You guys are doing great with that, and it's very Christ-like, very selfless for what you do. You put a lot into it, and I know that you love jiu-jitsu more than the wrestling, but you still are there for them, and I see you mentoring them outside. They come over your place, you do extra stuff. And I've seen you get upset sometimes with some of the kids. You're like, oh man, like not behaving right, outside of the mat. So I could tell that you really love these kids.
Like I don't know when it happened or what it was, but like at some point we took it all on, and it's like, damn, like, I only got two hands, but like, I'm not going to let you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it gets a little disappointing or whatever, but they are kids, and it just means that like their victories are like that much bigger, and but you learn a lot about yourself too, and like what it means to like not give up on people, or like to kind of like have somebody like I don't know, just not be ready yet. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just not ready yet. They don't see it yet. They don't know what this means to them yet. They don't know what they have until it's gone, type of deal. And this is probably like, I've prayed for other people and like this kind of thing more than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because like I know I'll be fine, but I'm already like an adult. Like I don't know about these kids so much, or certain people that like you just kind of wait for them to click over, and a little bit to our program, like sometimes it's not a voluntary thing. Like you have to go or else you're going to be in trouble. And so, when you have like a regular jiu-jitsu program, you're paying money to show up, your parents drop you off, like, they pick you up, like, no, this is a police officer that comes and gets you. Like, like you either get in or like you're going to spend the night in juvie or something like that. So this is our program and our reality. So just trying to, be that positive role model, but like it is hard. And then on the flip side, I also find myself sometimes, and especially with the high school kids, like not necessarily getting mad when they don't win, but like kind of like reevaluating myself as a coach, like, dang, like, or are we over here trying to like save kids off the street, or like we trying to make champions? Like at a certain point, like there's crossover, but sometimes it's like, I want it all, like I want to have that championship team, and I want them to be upstanding citizens,
Yeah, I remember there was a time like when I was first there, because we're competitors. I talked to Officer Strada, and he even said like, yeah, we're used to like going hard and this and that, but this is not what it's about. And I think as from when I was there and I see it now, and I still involved, I still see you guys posting stuff and the growth, like you got to find that balance. It's not always about winning medal chasers. It's more, you can win outside and being a good person. And, but I think you guys got it down. I think God has blessed you guys. I really see that, because when I showed up, you guys had some great, like blue mats. And then now you guys have like the nicest mats, the swag, right? The merch, the gear, like you guys are really taken care of. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a good service to the community.
Well, thank you very much, man. And you were Coach Hernando for a long time too, man. I appreciate you coming down and helping out. And it is being a coach is definitely I enjoy it. It's something that, especially now that it's kind of been taken away due to all this, like there's always a time where when you curse it, we're like, dang, like I'm done, like I'm gonna quit, like I'm tired of this, like this life sucks. But like now that it's been taken away for like 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, I'll never say a bad thing about it again. Like I'm sorry, like But I think that's like, it's a good self-reflection, and like right now, I can't wait till everything goes back to normal.
So I think I want to go with what you're going with on my first episode, and all this time I'm taking self-inventory of learning like God, please let me just keep my school in all this, you know, because a lot of schools are out there are shut down, from wrestling, from taekwondo, whatever, jiu-jitsu, everything's shut down.
Yeah.
And restaurants, all these things, everyone's getting hit very hard. So like you said, like, and where we don't appreciate, like, we love what we do, but then we kind of complain here and there because it does tend to become a job after a while, that we wish we can get it back. Just give it to us. I'm sorry, forgive us, you know? And I know that I'm pretty sure the kids feel that too, where maybe they didn't want to go that day, or maybe in the beginning they just didn't want to do it. I'm pretty sure there's a big learning experience for all of us in this world of the things that really value to us, and not complain and not take it for granted, if you agree.
Yeah, Hernando, you're right. I mean, you got to try to figure out what the lesson is here. You know, what does this all mean? Like, what is this supposed to teach us? And, you know, right away, like, gratitude was the number one, right? Like, if we could go back, like, yeah, we'd all be happy. Like, we weren't happy when we had it. So it's like, oh, you know, and I think that's a big one, man. But, you know, you touched on, like, everybody's suffering right now. Like, you know, teacher, like, it's not just the martial arts community, like, it's everybody. So then I kind of, like, you know, well, what is the right thing to do? What are the moves to make so that you're ready to capitalize when everything's back? Or, you know, how to maybe keep your head in the game, so to speak, or, you know. And I think for us who kind of, like, train jiu-jitsu as a lifestyle, more like a kind of like a that's who we are kind of deal, it's like, well, I mean, I'm still going to move around. I'm still going to practice. This is a self-defense. Like, I guess I'm ready in case something bad does happen, you know? And, but more so it's kind of like I don't know, man. I just, really anxious to be a better version of myself when I go back, right? Like you said, take inventory. Like, I'm starting to read a couple more books. I'm starting to maybe create lesson plans right now. So that way, like, we're ready to rock. Like, I'm on fire when it comes back. And, you know, little things in the past that, like, I always wanted to tweak, like, now they're going to get tweaked, you know, like, and I don't know if that's going to be a game changer, but, like, that's what I'm going to come back with, you know?
Yeah. I think this is a time where you can be still and really, you know, hear from God, or really think more without all the busyness of the grind of here and there, go here, go there, class, rest. So it's good for us. You know, yeah, quarantine sucks because we're human beings. We don't want to be told what to do, but we have to comply. And is there anything you can tell anybody out there? Like, there's a lot of misinformation. You're a high-level brown belt. Is there anything you tell someone that's kind of listening that what to do? Not everybody has a home gym like yourself. Amanda, she trains. We're not training right now. We're just doing more of the kind of prison workouts right now. But
Yeah.
but anything that you recommend to keep moving? Maybe something you would tell the kids in this time?
We have, you know, once again, we're part of Beat the Streets, and Beat the Streets throws up, like, daily challenges. And some of them are like, you know, hold a 2-minute plank, or like, you know, crank out as many push-ups as you can in 1 minute. Like, little stuff like that doesn't cost anything, and you don't need a lot of room. I would do that. And then also, you know, practice a lot of, like, breathing techniques and meditations and stuff like that. My buddy Joe, he does the Wim Hof method with all the ice baths and stuff like that. You know, I know you're in Washington. It's probably, you just go outside and it's super cold. You could probably just do it there. But that brings a certain sense of calmness and oneness. And, you know, that's a little bit of, like, if you're willing to invest in yourself, like, breathing is one of those things, because it's always with you. And you could always, like, oh man, I'm getting mad right now. I need to calm down, you know, or like, you know, I need a little energy, or just, like, you know, it's easier to take a step back and reevaluate yourself. And then the other thing, and, you know, we got a dog now, and she, you know, she's our alarm clock. And I do enjoy, like, you know, getting up and figuring out what time sunrise is. And, like, we're right there ready, like, we're on the walk when the sunrise comes up, you know. And that to me is just a little bit more of like, you know, I don't got anything to do, but like I should be up. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what. Maybe this is not the time to get lazier. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's kind of like I'm not doing anything else extra, but like at least I'm up and I'm more receptive to whatever happens throughout my day. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, I don't know, this going to sleep for a while and waking up, and then when this is all over, like I had nothing to show for it type deal.
Well, man, people can't see if they're listening to audio, but dude, you look big from here. You got a vein popping out like right here, man.
I mean, I'm doing my workouts, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what else is there to do, but you know, I know that going negative is not the right answer, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, staying on top of your workouts, being diligent. You know, I hate working out. I don't really like it, but you know, that's why we do jiu-jitsu, kind of almost. You know, like I just, but I guess you have to. You know.
Yeah, we can't stop because I mean, when you're at a high level, we can't have a white belt that's been doing P90X this whole time come and smash us, right? When we get back.
And then your technique was for nothing.
That's awesome. And then, well, I appreciate that, and I do want to talk about a little bit about your faith. I know that we talked about God, and I remember one day we were driving to church with Amanda, and we're like, "Is that Eric?" And you're just like driving, like going. Like you didn't tell me you were going, and you just showed up. And then you did go a few times after that. You know you wouldn't even like I wouldn't have to reach out. You just would show up and listen. And I know that you would go after that. And
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that and your walk.
Well, you know, so I never very religious, you know, growing up, but you know, a little bit like curious and you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, everybody, you ask questions like, you know, where did we come from? How long have we been here? What is the goal? What is the purpose? Like this, you know, and you could really, this is the number one question, right? Like nobody could really sit down and tell you for fact. And, you know, so much of who we are as humans is like that question, right? And it drives us. And I remember calling you, and this was New Year's Day. And what ended up happening was, you know, I mentioned I used to work in the hotel industry, and I worked a graveyard shift on New Year's night, right? And I was at work completely like kind of by myself, like nobody was around, worked a job that I hated, and on a night where like you're supposed to be with your loved ones, like you're supposed to be partying, you're supposed to like being grateful, right? And so I just finished my, you know, 8-hour shift, whatever, spent my midnight by myself, you know what I'm saying? Like just babysitting a hotel. And I'm driving back home on the 101 freeway, and I'm heading north on the 101, and I see all these lights start to move in front of me. All these other cars begin to swerve out of the way. And there was a driver coming straight at me on the wrong side of the freeway. And he was in the next lane over. So when we passed, you know, when you get next to the car, you pass whatever, like you get that shake, that wind shake. It was gnarly, boom, and it kind of scared me because I didn't really understand what was going on. Just saw people diving out of the way. It's not every day a car comes at you at 100 miles an hour the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember, like, you know, I called 911, I reported it in, blah, blah, blah. They kind of already knew that some other people had reported it, but then I remember like pulling off to the side of the road and kind of like just being shaky and like, oh man, like I could have died right there. And just being a little bit like, just reevaluating, like, dang, like I just got off of a job that I really don't love, like kind of hated it just for money. And like, that would have been my whole life. That would have been my game over. And I just was like very like upset about it. Like, you know, like that's not how I'm supposed to go, you know, go out, you know, like what there's no meaning there. And so then that's when I called you, you know, and we talked about like church, and I think we went to church the next day or something like that. But that was kind of like, you know, I always knew that you were a religious person. You always like very humble about it, kind of like, a good Christian. And at that point, like I was just like, this is like a spiritual kind of like question, like, and I reached out to you, and I've been going to church ever since then, and started to be a little bit more open to like the spiritual, and like why we're here and what we're supposed to learn, and what we're like, kind of like what the journey of life is, and for everybody it's different, but I'm just trying to especially for like that youth program, like trying to be like the better version of myself, that way, like at least like, hey, I did this, and for whatever the good and bad I've done, like for this part of my life, like I did as good as I could, and so that's been what, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm like really like happy you brought that up, because I think a lot of people turn to things because we are human beings and we want to know, why are we here? What is the answer? And the only answer that I can think of is Jesus Christ, of why we're even here, why we're forgiven, why is our calling, what we're doing. And a lot of times we're still figuring it out day by day. But I mean, God wanted you to be here and lead those kids, and he gave you the chance as an awakening, like, hey. And did you quit your job right there and then, or did it, because
but I think that planted the seed, Hernando, because like I was probably out like 2 or 3 months later, but right afterwards, I remember, just like kind of like making my mind up, like I'm done, I'm out. And I did like 2 weeks, but then they talked me to coming back, and like that's kind of like the story of me. Like I was never like it was almost like a breakup. Like I couldn't leave that job for whatever reason, like I would always like be talked into staying, but as soon as I let it go, like all these other opportunities popped up, and like I was able to like, dude, I'm so much better as a martial artist now, like because I've let that go,
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's crazy because as life, I feel and I see God's blessing, and no matter what, we're all children, and he loves us no matter who you are. But it's very hard to let go of something because of our own understanding. Like you just got to trust and look at the end product, and you're still growing, you're still doing what your thing, but you're doing what you love.
Yeah. Hey, that's true, man. And that's so many people who go into business for themselves or pursue something that is maybe off the path, like they talk about like how it's a leap of faith, and and it's not really a leap of faith. It's just like you gotta go for it. You gotta believe, and like or you gotta trust the process. I mean, but that's a very like, that's reassuring too. Like boom, got you. Like, and I know like the path of Jesus, like not really. He does say like nobody goes to the Father except through me, or something to that effect. It's like, well, that makes sense that you would find somebody who walked the path and got as far as they got. For us, like it's easy because we have John Jock, but in the grand scheme of things, like, how many people have really sought out like the true answers to the questions, and like didn't break from the path, like weren't and it's him, for whatever. And that's kind of where we're at right now, trying to make sense of everything.
I think, like you mentioned a while ago, you said the facts. Okay, so my faith is faith, right? Because we don't really see all these things. We just believe, and when we have belief, we faith and can see, and in our heart, that's what it is. It's faith that this is the way, he's the way. And I don't know where I'm trying to get at is I'm just, in the end of the day, you just got to have faith and believe. That's it. And that's all I can say. I don't know where I was going with that, but, it's amazing that we don't know why we're here sometimes, but if we have faith, and faith God provides with all these things. Seek him first and all these things will be given to you. So that could have been, I mean, his ways are higher than mine and ours, but you know, it's pretty cool. It's like, hey, maybe he told me to leave that so that I can do this, and then I can do this. And now you're doing what I feel, what I can see is you're doing his work. You're giving back to the community, at-risk youth. You're, and he's providing, and you're happy. You have the joy that money can't give you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there is, not, I forget. I mean, I'm sure you probably know it more, but it's like not my will, but your will, or something to that. Like, and I've said that before, and like, if that's the case, like, well then, if jiu-jitsu, like if I'm never going to have a jiu-jitsu school, which is what I want, right? Well, then I'm going to have a wrestling school. It's like, if that's the worst thing in my world, like, okay, like I need to shut up and, be grateful and, just take my actual noon class training all that more serious, because I still get to train as much as I want, which is cool.
Nice. Yeah, I see you posting stuff up all the time, man. And like you say, like, we want all these things, but if we're willing to give it up, he'll let us either keep it or he'll take it away, but he always has something better. So we just got to trust the process. That's jiu-jitsu too, right there. That's Christianity. That's life. Trust the process, it will all work out. But I really appreciate everything, you taking the time, man. I'm really happy that you're like my first guest. How are you doing during quarantine right now? How are you doing?
I mean, dude, like I miss my students. I miss my friends. I'm lucky enough that, I got Bonnie, who's like, works up the road, and she's working just like a regular person right now. Like, cause I'm not working at all. I'm lucky that like I got a roof over my head. I got food, and, kind of like just thinking a lot and trying to make the better decisions and stuff like that. I miss training. I miss like, everybody at the academy, but, I kind of do believe like we're not supposed to be going out right now, and it's not really worth it to get somebody sick. And I have older grandparents, and like they're in that prime demographic, and I haven't seen them because like I don't want to get them sick, so it's just a little bit of we're all in the same boat right now, and I don't know when it's going to end, but I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, which is unfortunate. And I'm not a medical caregiver or anything like that, or like an essential person, but like, just reevaluating and like seeing like, how can I be of help, or what can I do, and those doctors and nurses, like they're doing such a great job that like I shouldn't add to their workload, so
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I like how you're going with that. I've kind of kept my mouth shut, but this is my podcast, our podcast, God's podcast. But I really respect what you're saying, and as I'm pretty sure you're very tempted to train and get everybody together. You got your own mats. You could probably put everybody in there and just keep it hush hush.
I get messages all the time like, hey, let's train, like let's do that, and like part of me, I'll even type out like, yeah, like let's do it. I'm like, oh, it's a hard, like it's a hard thing, and I don't know, man. Like this is like a global punishment, and like the jiu-jitsu people are like, we're being singled out. Like this sucks, because we're kind of like we're our own little clique too. We're our own like introverts, and it's a little bit of like, we're never causing trouble in the grand scheme of things. Like all we do is like mess around and like beat each other up and like think it's the funnest thing ever. But it got taken away. We're on timeout. We're on a global timeout.
We're on a global timeout is the perfect way to say it. So just take it one day at a time. All of us, myself, everyone listening, and take inventory and soul search. And this is the time. Something's good is going to come out of it, because it always does. Mm-hmm. But man, I really appreciate your time. I've gone through my list. Is anything? It's up to you, man. Open mic. Anything you got?
How's everything with you, dude? I mean, I keep up with your social media. I see you a lot. We text message every once in a while. It looks like everything's going good. Um, what's it like having your own school?
I love having my own school. I love being a leader. Like you, it kind of becomes a job once in a while, and I'm just like, man, I can't wait till I get it back. I'm like, God, can I please have a school when I come back? I don't need a big school. I don't need a lot of students. I'm sorry. But it's better. I mean, it was hard, the uncertainty. I'm okay that if this runs out 2-3 months, so be it. Whatever, we comply. It's all attitude at this point. We've moved all of our stuff online, and it's good. I'm not. We're okay right now, and we got to take it just one day at a time because it's very uncertain. I try to meditate on what Jesus says, focus on, take it one day at a time, basically. I don't have it for scripture, but he basically says, focus on today because tomorrow is uncertain. Each day has enough trouble on its own. So I have to focus on right now, like what we're doing right now, for example, this day, and things are rough one day at a time. But sometimes I was talking to Amanda, my wife, like, well, what do we do with the gyms? Like, how do we move stuff and upgrade? I'm like, with this uncertainty, we can't even think about it. Jesus says, just focus on today and just let it be. So, I mean, we can't complain. I got a place too. I got food. We got toilet paper. We're okay. Yeah, I content with what we got, and we got a lot. We really do. So.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good outlook, Hernando. Bonnie, she's a 911 operator. So like, she's always like hearing like a lot of stuff, and, sometimes she'll come home and be like really stressed out. And we usually have like a little bit of time where like she could vent and stuff like that. But, we live in a first world country. Like, we're very lucky. And I think we all live better than any other human that's ever lived before. And, we don't really need to cry so much because I don't know, like we're probably like the softest of the softies, and crying about toilet paper and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, man, that's awesome. And obviously thank her for really, even though she makes the calls and do all that, right? She's like she's like an operator.
She's the dispatcher. Yeah.
She's still out there. I've listened to it, and it's mental. And I got to reach out, offer to Strata. I know he's still in the front lines.
Yeah. So now, like, since the programs are on hold, like they're back on patrol right now, and they're keeping the streets safe rather, and everybody's life just got flipped real quick,
Yeah.
But he's actually came over here a couple times since on patrol. My neighbors come out and like, oh, what's going on? just being all nosy and stuff like that.
That's cool. That's awesome. Well, I miss you guys. I was scheduled to go out in March, end of March, but it didn't happen. I had to cancel because of the lockdown. And Mark was supposed to come out here in May, and I was going to have you come out. I think it was in September, and it just kind of puts everything on hold.
Of course, man. We'll get together when it's the right time. And I'm always available. Especially, I wish we could have done it already, but
yeah,
dude, we're in the same. I think UFC is trying to put a fight on right now, and it like keeps falling apart. Like everybody's plans right now are just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of, what every day has its own troubles, right? So that's
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man. No, you have a good attitude and good way of being a leader and really setting the example in the community. You have your own spot. You can have people there, but you took the leadership and said no. And that's how it has to be. It has to be people to stand up, because I know some jiu-jitsu schools are still meeting up and training. It's the worst thing you can do. And we want to train. I get it. And no matter your thoughts, but it's your perception. It's also, what if this is a real deal? As all the facts are out there, like, hey, you know what? 6 feet, just deny self, just do it. So that good work, man. Keep it up.
Thank you. Yeah. But I got a cheat where I have like a Bonnie. So like, I'm I'm already doing like, maybe I could get a stripe on my brown belt after all this quarantine, like with how much I can level up,
I think
But
everybody would be due for that for sure. Just this is mental now,
almost, I was like thinking of like a funny way to text John Jock and be like, like, hey, like I'll take my black belt online, like, just hook me up or something.
Did you see that video of the first ever quarantine promotion?
Oh, really? No, I haven't.
I don't know. I gotta find it. It's on YouTube. So the guy was 6 feet from his house. The guy doing the promotion, probably the instructor, 6 feet. He was in the porch, and he promoted someone a purple belt, but like he kind of like passed it very far. It's hilarious. And he put that first ever quarantine promotion. So
That's cool. Hey, dude, I have there's a girl I wanted to promote to blue belt for a long time. And the day that she came to practice, I didn't have the belt, and I brought it with me a bunch of times, and then she just wasn't there that day. And then when she comes, I didn't have it, and now this quarantine hit. So like I've been looking at her blue belt like for like, cause you know what I'm saying? Like I want her to have it, and it's a weight on my mind now because I messed up. It's just one of those things that like I might have to do something similar where like I just need to send it in the mail and like, you're good.
I know. I have this kid, poor kid. I mean, this kid's like 8, and he's a white belt, went and competed and did a fantastic. He got like second place. I'm like, okay, look, you're going to go again, and you're going to go as a white belt, and you're going to take first. And then he's like, all these kids are getting promoted. I'm like, no, I believe in you. You're a competitor. I'm going to hold you back. Go win first place, and I'll promote you, basically. And I haven't promoted him because they canceled the tournament, and I feel bad. I talked to his mom, and
Hernando is like, it's like all backfired on everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's plans, like a big or smaller, like just getting like, we have no control.
Not our will, but his will be done.
Seriously. Mm-hmm. So lesson for everyone.
Yep. No, good work, man. Thanks, man, for this time. Do you have any sponsors, any shout outs you want to give out?
Hey, dude, Luda Gear's always taking care of me. Thank you, Neil and Eddie for sponsoring me. JJMHQ, always there since day one. Really, touched on like, we're a big family. I have gotten more inappropriate messages from those guys than anybody else, just like saying what's up with like all sorts of funniness behind it. But like, I know we all kind of just miss each other more than anything. Like, I'm sure if we could all just hang out, like we'd be great without the mats, but that's kind of like the situation. And it really makes you a little bit more, grateful one more time about like, at least we have a spot where we could all get together and hang out and stuff like that. We call it a gym, but it could be anything, but, yeah, that's it. My squad at Topanga Wrestling, and then, thank you for having me on, man. We've been friends for a couple of years now. We're really happy that you got promoted to black belt. Like we've been saying it for a long time, and like, and for you to go off and do your own thing, like that was cool too, man. We all, we're all supportive of you, and, you got to do what you got to do. It sucks that I lost a training partner through all this, but
no, thanks, man.
Miss you beating me up and knee cutting through my half guard and keeping me flat.
It's not easy, man. Like, it's really not easy. You're tough, dude. I can say that because I'm super far now. I can say that because you're not going to come after me right now. And plus, there's quarantine.
I'm working on my quarantine passing.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm going to give a shout out to my first sponsor, which is Reyes Coffee, at Reyes Coffee on Instagram. Guy does his own stuff. Love coffee. Do you love coffee, Eric?
Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee. I cut back quite a bit since I don't have to be awake for anything, but I still probably have like a cup a day.
Yeah, same. Have you ever gotten any headaches when you cut back on the coffee?
I don't think I've ever cut back on coffee, so I guess probably when I cut back.
I was just asking because I'm kind of having that sometimes when I don't drink as much as I used to. So like you said, like now you're kind of slowing down.
Yeah, and you had your Starbucks right there at Galpin Ford. Like, yeah, whole spot, dude.
Yeah, they're shut down too, man.
Everybody, dude. I've checked up on my old hotel, like my old hotel shut down. Like, you know, if I would have stayed there, I would have still been in the exact same boat, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I know you mentioned Luda Gear. What does Luda Gear do? Like, for people that don't know what Luda Gear does.
I got them right here. Check it out. Luda Gear are these like almost finger tapes. So you know how you spend a lot of money and a lot of time just like wrapping up your fingers and stuff like that. You'll get like your jiu-jitsu hands. They're pretty much just like, you know, braces for your fingers, and they're kind of like washable, and you could throw them in the wash and stuff like that. And something that just keeps your joints like healthy, you know.
That's awesome. See, look, Neil, we just gave you a little shout out. I want my Luda Gear too. Yeah, that's a good, pretty nifty invention there. I mean, I see everybody at John Chalks.
The one day I don't wear it, like I dislocate my finger, and so like now it's like one of those things. Like, no, if I don't have it, I'm not training anymore. Like I'm like being to be very temperamental about like how I am right
now. That's awesome. Well, man, it's such a pleasure. We've gone so long, and I don't really care. I felt like I'm just talking to you in person. So it's brought me great joy to talk to you, and I hope really a lot of people out there can really value what we got going on right now. I do want to end in prayer, and that'd be it.
Okay.
All right, dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in Jesus' name. We thank you, Father God, for the technology. We thank you for the quarantine. We thank you for this time. We just ask, Lord, that there's someone out there that benefited from this. Give them a little bit of encouragement, see the goodness out of all this right now, and just speak into their hearts, and that they come to you. And I hope we encouraged others. We just thank you for your good. You love us, and we just pray for Jiu-Jitsu to come back on your time, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right.
Thanks,
Awesome.
man. I really appreciate it, man. Tell everyone I said hi.
For sure, dude. You're missed. Okay.
We'll talk soon. I'm gonna hit you up after this.
Okay. All right, man. Take it easy.
Thanks, man. See ya.